taking our cross-legged position. Welcome. Welcome everybody to Thursday's Yoga Vida class. Thank you for coming. Today we are going to be working towards our upward facing dog, which is a pose that's quite often overlooked really when you're in yoga classes. It's the one that's a progression from your cobra, so it's a deeper back bend when you're doing your vinyasa kind of movement. So it's the one where you're just on your hands and your feet and your whole body is kind of pushed up. So it's quite an intense back bend, but we'll be doing lots of warming up with our backs beforehand. So it should be okay. If you do have any niggles in your lower back, which I know a lot of us do, then please always be careful, be mindful. Quite often back bending is really good for your lower back, even if it is quite sore if you do get lower back pain, because you're strengthening all the muscles that are supporting you. So it sometimes can be quite good to do little back bends if you suffer from back pain, but obviously just being careful, our backs are precious. So that's what we're kind of working towards today. As usual, we'll be doing a bit of an all over body flow, but mainly focusing around our kind of back area, strengthening our back, strengthening our core to support our back. And then, yeah, working on kind of opening up the front end of the body, which we need to do to get into the back bend. And obviously it's quite strong on the wrists when you push up. So we'll warm up the wrists as well. Obviously, if it's too much for you, if you don't want to come into the full pose, that's absolutely fine. We'll be doing lots of kind of levels of back bend, so you can choose to come into whatever back bend is good for you today. So we shall start. Starting just to close down your eyes, softening down your face, settling in, making yourself comfortable. As always, sitting on a block or a prop if you need one. You know, everyone's different, but I always find it's a bit more relaxing actually to have the hips elevated, so you can just find a little bit of a release around the hips. So anything just to prop yourself up. And once we're there, just finding our tall spine, just letting the shoulders relax back and down. And starting to kind of tune into you, to your body, to your breath, how you're feeling, how your body's feeling, how your mind is feeling. And just letting the day we've had, you know, just drift away, clearing the mind, just thinking of the right here, the right now, focusing on your breathing. Taking some slightly longer inhales, slightly longer exhales. So really start to feel your body move with your breath, really expand as you inhale and soften as you exhale. And actually, I always think, you know, when we're doing it at home, we can just really exaggerate the movement. There's no one watching, you know, it doesn't really matter anyway with yoga, but sometimes you feel a bit more comfortable when there's just us in the room, and just really go for it. Really kind of fill your chest with air as you inhale and really soften as you exhale, keeping that length in the spine, keeping that energy kind of rising up through the crown of your head, and letting the breath just return to normal, opening up the eyes. Let's just take our neck stretches first of all. So just dropping your ear down to the shoulder, semicircling down and round, and then up the other side, as always, pausing when you need to. Just kind of easing out that tension wherever you feel it. Then lifting the head back up to center, taking our shoulder rolls. So just nice, slow, kind of exaggerated shoulder circles, both directions. And then just letting the shoulders melt back and down. Bringing the arms out in front. Let's open up the arms, outstretch the arms, really reach out with the fingertips, palms facing up. Maybe taking the gaze up to the sky. And then let's fold the arms in, kind of wrapping them around our shoulders. And then again, spreading out and folding in, this time bringing the other arm on top. And let's bring our breath into it. So as we inhale, opening up, stretching out. And then as we exhale, we soften, we fold. Inhaling, taking it in your own time. And exhaling to come in. And just find a nice kind of flowing movement with it, working into your spine as well. So maybe coming into a little back bend as you inhale, and then curving as you exhale. Okay. Taking just one more round. And then bringing yourself back to upright. So warming up the wrists. Just taking one hand and just kind of pulling the fingers of the other hand backwards. So we're just going to stretch out the kind of forearms and the underside of the wrist. And then over the other way. And then the same with the other hand. And then clasping the hands, stretching the palms out in front of you. And then bringing the hands back, kind of coming into our little, almost like a Z shape, I guess. Swapping it over, so stretching the top of one wrist and the underside of the other. And then let's take our wrists in some circles. So we can keep our hands together for this, or kind of separate your hands, just really getting into the wrist joints. Again, being mindful of your wrists. If any of us have delicate wrists, especially from typing, just being careful that if you do get any kind of wrist pain, or if you do type a lot, wrist exercises are really, really good to do. So highly recommend doing some wrist exercises every day. Okay, shaking the wrists out. We'll come through to all fours. So just removing any props you have to the side. Coming through to our cat-cow position. So just making sure our knees are aligned with our hips, with our feet. Hands underneath the shoulders. Fingers nice and widely spread. And when you are ready, coming into your cat-cow. So inhaling, looking forward, dipping the belly down. Exhaling, pushing up to the sky with your spine. Moving with your breath, so trying to slow the breath down and slow the movement down with your breath. If you do have to take any extra breaths, that's absolutely fine. But just something to work towards is trying to really control and lengthen your breathing. Good. So really feeling each part of your spine move, getting nicely warmed up. Again, pausing if you need to anywhere. If you want to kind of stay in your cat pose for a little bit and stretch out the shoulders, or stay in your back bend, then please do so. And take some extra breaths, just holding the move. Okay. When you are ready, coming into our neutral spine. So let's engage that core. Kind of suck the belly button back towards the spine. Engage everything around that core area. Keeping your back nice and flat. You're going to extend out the left leg and the right arm, but keeping them both kind of touching the floor. So right palm is facing inwards, just with the little pinky touching the floor, fingers spread. And the left toes tucked under. As we inhale, we're going to bring the arm and the leg up nice and slowly, just up to shoulder height, up to hip height, and then exhale down. Try and not collapse into your lower back. Inhale up, exhale down. Keeping the core nice and strong. Inhale up, exhale down. 2 more times. Inhale, exhale, Inhale. Exhale. Bringing the right hand back under your shoulder. We're going to lift the left leg up, point the toe backwards. So nice strong straight leg, and then we're just going to lift the leg just as high as you can, really. I mean, don't push it too far, but just nice and high. So we're really engaging that left glute and coming into a bit of a back bend. So we're going to come further into the back bend. Let's take our gaze forward. So this is like a little cat-cow with our leg lifted. And then we're going to curl up, bringing the knee to the chin, and then extend back out again. So a little extension of your cat-cow here. Knee to chin, extend out, inhale, exhale, curve the spine. Bring the knee as close as you can to your chest. Good. One more. And then bringing that knee back down to the mat. Okay, realigning, engaging your core, making sure that your back is strong, your shoulders are strong. We're pushing up through our hands. Let's extend out the right leg this time, tuck the toe under, and the left arm. So just the left pinky touching the floor. Keeping the core engaged, so trying not to kind of dip into that lower back as we come up. So keep that tailbone tucked under as we inhale up, exhale down. It doesn't matter how far you come up. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and down. Inhale, and down. One more. Strong through that core. Bringing the left hand underneath the shoulder. Let's bring the right leg up, bring it nice and high this time, pointing out through the toes. Let's take our gaze forward, coming into our back bend. And then knee comes in close to the chest. Extend out, inhale, exhale, curl in. Inhale, and exhale. Two more. Keeping it strong through the arms, so really pushing down through the hands. Good. Okay, placing that knee back down on the mat. We'll come into our child's pose, so bringing our knees nice and wide, hips back and down, and push with your hands to begin with, so really encourage those hips back and down. If you need a block between your hips and your heels, please grab one, and then coming down into our restorative child's pose, so just letting the head come down to the floor or to your block or to any support that you need. And again, just using this time to connect with our breathing, to connect with our body, connect with the movement of the body while you breathe. So really kind of feeling the belly expand as you breathe, feeling the torso expand, feeling the rib cage expand. And then slowly we're going to bring our head up, walking our hands back towards our knees. We're going to keep the knees wide, toes together, and just bringing ourselves to sit back on our heels. If you do need anything kind of just between your knee and your heels and your hips here, then please place something there. It can even just be a blanket or something if it's not comfortable for you. When we're here, finding length through our spine again, so really concentrating on lengthening that tailbone down towards the mat, lengthening up through our spine, up through the crown of our head, bringing our shoulders back and down. As we inhale, we're going to reach the hands up towards the sky, keeping the shoulders away from the ears, clasping the hands and turning the palms up skywards, so really trying to stretch out the arms here, but keeping that length through our spine, so not collapsing into the lower back as I just have. So really pulling that belly button back, engaging the core. Then bringing the hands out wide, stretching out through the fingertips, all the way back and down, clasping the hands behind you, and working on straightening the arms if we can, maybe squeezing the palms of the hands together, so coming into a nice chest opener here. Then releasing the hands, just bringing them down to the floor behind you. And again, squeezing the shoulder blades together, maybe taking our gaze up towards the ceiling. So coming into our back bend. Breathing here. And slowly making our way back to upright. Okay, we'll do that one more time. Nice big inhale. Reaching up with the hands, lowering the shoulders away from the ears, clasping the hands, maybe clasping the other way this time, and stretching the palms up towards the ceiling. Releasing the hands, stretch nice and wide, really lengthening through the arms, reaching out through the fingertips, clasping behind us. And working on straightening those arms, bringing the shoulder blades together behind you, opening up the chest. Breathing. And then maybe bringing the hands just behind you. Again, opening up the chest, curving into your lower back, and breathing. Good, okay, coming back to upright. Just bringing the knees together. We're going to tuck the toes under, coming into a little ball at the back of our mat. Just curving round our knees just for a second, just to stretch out the back after those back bends. So it doesn't matter if your heels are lifted or on the floor, just maybe placing the hands in front of you. And then slowly, slowly, we're going to make our way up to standing. Uncurling all the way up. Reaching the hands up to the sky when we get there. And then bringing the hands out wide again. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Bringing the hands just pointing to the floor just behind us. Taking the gaze up towards the ceiling. And then nice big inhale, reaching back up to center. This time as we fold forward, we're going to fold from the hips, so try and keep the legs straight for as long as you can, just to get that opening across the hamstring. Then we're going to walk ourselves forward on our mat, forward into our plank position. So nice and strong through our plank position. Really stretch, like reaching out through the backs of the heels, engaging the legs. Strong through the arms, strong through the shoulders. And then we're slowly going to walk ourselves back. All the way to the back of the mat. Inhaling, reaching up to standing, all the way up. Fingertips to the sky. Exhale, extend the arms out to the side. Reaching down and behind you. Inhale, back up to center. And then exhale, fold from the hips. Try and get that stretch in the hamstrings. Don't worry if you need to bend your legs at one point, that's absolutely fine. And then walking nice and slowly, trying with control, not swinging our hips from side to side, using our core to our plank. Okay, we're going to do that one more time. So walking backwards, bending the knees, inhaling up. Exhaling, down and back, little back bend. Inhaling back up to center. And exhaling, forward fold from the hips. Walking ourselves forward. I actually did this on Joe Wicks the other morning. That's where I got the idea. So you have him to blame for it. Coming into our plank. Lowering down the knees, untucking the toes, squeezing the elbows in. Let's come down to the mat. Okay. Hands come under the shoulders. Firming up the legs, tops of the feet pushing into the ground. As we inhale, let's just come into our baby cobra. So just peeling the chest up off the floor and then back down. Inhaling up again, maybe peeling a little bit higher and down. Inhaling, coming up to our cobra. Squeezing the elbows in and exhale down. Good. Just have a little rest. Just place your cheek on the side. Give your hips a little wiggle. Okay, then we're going to bring our arms into a cactus shape. So elbows in line with our shoulders, fingertips facing forward. Firm up the legs again, so really pushing down with the tops of the feet. As we inhale, we're going to peel our chest and our arms off the floor, and exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up. This time we're going to stretch the arms out to the side and then all the way back, point so the fingertips are pointing backwards, and maybe lift up our legs as well. So fingertips kind of wanting to reach the feet and toes pointing away from us. Locust. Breathing here. Holding. See if we can lift a little bit higher. And relaxing. Just letting the arms come to the side. Let your cheek come down to the mat. And give your hips a little wiggle from side to side. Good. Okay. Bringing our hands underneath our shoulders, let's come up to our downward facing dog. So we can either push up through our plank or come through hands and knees, tucking the toes under, lifting the hips up high, downward facing dog. And let's just stretch out the backs of the legs, paddle out through the heels. Take a look at our fingers, make sure they're nice and wide. And take a look at our feet, make sure our heels are kind of hidden behind our toes. So we don't want our toes pointing out or in. Feet facing forward, hip distance apart. Okay, making our way up to the front of the mat. Either stepping, walking, hopping. When we get there, making sure our feet are hip distance apart. Coming into our forward folds, just letting our head hang heavy. Maybe taking a little sway from side to side. We can take a bend in the knees here. And when we're ready, nice big inhale, sweeping the arms up high, all the way to standing. And coming into our Tadasana, our mountain pose, hands in prayer position in front of our heart center. Inhale, let's sweep the arms up high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, so finding the length in our spine, reaching forward with the crown of the head. Hands come down to the mat, stepping back with our left foot, low lunge. Lowering that back knee down, untucking the back toe. Reaching up with both arms. Let's see if we can really kind of get a good stretch on this left hip. So if you need to wiggle that right foot forward a little bit, sink the hips down, then please do so. Bringing the arms down into our cactus, all the way down, and then sweeping forward. Exhaling down, inhaling up, exhaling down, inhaling up. This time exhaling down, all the way down. We're going to clasp our hands behind us, opening up the chest, maybe taking our gaze up towards the sky again, sinking into that hip, maybe a little further. Breathing. And then nice big inhale, reaching all the way up. Hands come down to the mat. Tucking that back toe under, stepping back to our plank, lowering down. Remember, you can always lower the knees, squeezing the elbows in, inhaling. Let's take a full cobra, so coming up a little bit further than you might normally come up, and then exhaling, pushing up into our downward facing dog. Okay, taking a nice big step forward with our left foot. So that same flow on the left-hand side, untucking the back toe, sweeping the arms up. Wiggling that front foot forward if you need to come a little bit further into that hip stretch. Also good for our upward facing dog later, opening up the fronts of the hips. Bringing our arms down into our cactus, all the way down, sweeping back up as we inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale down. Inhale. And this time exhaling, clasping the hands behind us. If we can straighten the arms. Take our gaze up to the ceiling, coming into a bit of a back bend. Maybe getting deeper into that hip stretch. Breathing. And releasing the hands. Inhale, sweeping up to the sky. Exhale down, tuck the back toe under, step forward to the front of the mat, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, uncurling, all the way up to standing, reaching up to the sky. Exhale into our Tadasana. Inhaling up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift as we inhale. This time we're going to step the right foot back first, coming back into our low lunge, untucking that back toe, reaching up. Okay, this time as we inhale, we're going to lift that back knee off the floor, but keeping that back toe untucked. So it's a stretch for the top of the foot as well. So as we inhale, strong through that back leg. If it's too much on your foot, just come down. Again, really good for the feet here. Holding if you can, and then exhaling down. Good, hands come down to the front of the mat, step back into our plank. Lowering down. Inhaling into our back bend, pressing down with the tops of the feet. Exhaling, coming into your downward facing dog. Really lifting the hips up high here, engage that core. Strong through the core, through the torso, the shoulders, the arms. Okay, taking a big step forward with our right foot this time. Untucking that back toe. Sweeping the arms up. Relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. As we inhale, see if we can lift that back knee off the floor. So stretching out the top of the foot. Again, if it's too much, then please just bring the knee back down. Just stay in your low lunge. Breathing here. And then exhaling down. Good. Hands come to the front of the mat, tucking the back toe under, stepping forward. Inhaling all the way up to standing. And exhaling to Tadasana. Good. Taking a couple of breaths here. Softening the shoulders, softening the face. Coming back to your breathing. And on our next inhale, let's sweep our arms up. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. This time we'll step both feet back towards our plank position. Okay, strong through the arms here. We're going to drop the heels over to the right side and lift up our left arm, coming into our side plank. Lift those hips up high. Bringing the left hand down, coming back through our normal plank, and then heels drop over to the left. Reaching the right fingertips up high. Bringing the right hand down. Let's everyone lower the knees down, untuck the toes, and slowly, we're going to come hips first this time. Kind of peel your body back down onto the mat. As we come down, I want you to slide your fingers, your hands forward. So your elbows come under your shoulders and fingertips pointing forward. So we have come into our Sphinx position. So just making sure our legs are hip distance apart, so we've got a little gap between our legs. Pressing down with the tops of our feet so our legs are active. We want to push down with our forearms and our hands. So it's a real kind of active position, bringing our chest forward and up. We want to kind of relax around the lower back area, so try to release any tension around your back. And just use your legs and your arms to kind of lift you into the back bend. Now this is an option when we come into our upward dog later. You can always come back into this pose if this is okay for you. If this is too much, then please just come back into your cobra and just kind of work on your little cobra flow. But holding here for a few breaths, pulling the shoulders away from the ears, firming up the legs. Good, okay. We're going to tuck the toes under, lift up the hips, coming into our forearm plank. Nice and strong. And then coming up onto our hands, so one hand then the other, lifting up into our full plank. Then let's come into our child's pose. So knees wide, toes together. Oh, dropping the head down. And this is a really nice stretch out for the spine as well once we've done some back bends. Child's pose is a great spine lengthener, so really nice to come into this once we've done some back bends. Taking some nice deep breaths. Just noticing how your body's feeling, how your back is feeling, just checking in. And when we are ready, we're going to make our way up to our downward dog. So in your own time, just coming up into your down dog. Pushing up through the hands. Letting your head relax, remember. So just letting your head hang, no tension in the neck. Lifting our right leg up, we're then going to take a nice big step forward with our right leg. So maybe wiggling that foot forward if you need to, coming into our high lunge. Straighten up the front leg and then try and lower that back heel down to the floor. So both legs really straight, getting a nice stretch on the back of that left leg. Good for our balance too here. Then bending back into the front knee, let's bring our arms down into cactus, into our little cactus flow. So inhale, let's sweep forward and up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale all the way down, clasping our hands behind us. Strong through the legs here. Take our gaze up towards the sky. Hold your balance. Breathing. And then we're going to pivot on that back foot. So coming into our warrior two legs, but keeping our arms clasped behind us, keeping a nice bend in that front knee. So really stretching out the hips, opening up the chest. Then releasing the hands into our warrior two arms, shoulder height. And then coming back into our little flow sequence we did when we were sat down. So as we inhale, let's reach the hands out behind us. Exhale, fold in, give ourselves a hug. Strong through the legs. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, good. Inhale, back to our warrior two arms. Cartwheel the hands down, stepping back into our plank. We're going to lower down to the mat. Untucking our toes. We're going to come into a little half upward dog here. So bringing your hands under your shoulders, then bring them back another couple of inches. Strong through the feet. Strong through the legs. We're going to lift up our top half of our body so our knees are still on the floor as well. So our hips should be off the floor, our chest off the floor. Your hands should be directly underneath your shoulders. Just taking your gaze forward, just noticing how this feels on your back. If it's too much, you can come back into your Sphinx or into your Cobra. Good. Okay, bending into the arms, lowering ourselves back down. Pushing up into our downward facing dog. Hips up high. Heels melting down towards the earth. Don't worry if your legs are bent, that's fine. Just still concentrate on lowering the heels down so you get that stretch through the back of the ankle, through the calf. Okay, taking a big step forward with our left foot. Same sequence on the left-hand side. High lunge. Lowering the shoulders away from the ears, trying to straighten up that back leg. And then we're going to straighten up the front leg and then kind of squeeze that back heel down towards the floor. Bending back into the high lunge, so bending that front knee, bringing our arms down through cactus. Inhaling up. Down as we exhale. Inhaling up. Moving as we breathe. Down as we exhale. One more. Inhale up. Exhale down, clasp the hands behind you. Strong through the legs. Maybe taking the gaze up towards the ceiling. And then pivoting on that back foot, coming into our warrior two legs. Keeping a nice bend in the front knee, keeping your arms clasped if you can. And then releasing our hands into our warrior two arms. And then closing in for our hug. Inhaling, open out. Exhaling, closing in. Inhaling out, trying to keep our legs strong here. So strong, straight back leg. Nice bend in the front knee. Okay, coming back into our warrior two arms. Cartwheeling the hands over that front foot. Stepping back to plank. Lowering down to the mat, so squeezing the elbows in all the way down. Shifting the hands back a little bit. Coming into our upward facing dog. So pushing down with the tops of the feet, pushing down with your hands. Lifting ourselves up nice and strong. So the only points of contact with the floor are your hands and the tops of your feet. So really strong position here. Take your gaze forward, find length in the back of the neck. And then come down to the mat to have a little rest. So for those who are working on their vinyasa, that transition from upward dog to downward dog, what we can do is we can push up to our upward dog, and then you just flip one leg over, then the other, and then push ourselves up. Completely optional, just for those that want to work on that little movement. For the rest, we can push up to our upward dog, and then come down to our knees, tuck the toes under, and push up to our downward dog. So let's all meet in downward dog. Whichever way you choose to get there. Having a nice little stretch out once we're there. Paddling the legs, strong through the arms. And then we'll come down to our child's pose. So knees wide, toes together. And again, stretching out the back. Tuning into your breath, tuning into your body, noticing how you're feeling. And then slowly, let's bring ourselves back to seated. So just walking backwards with your hands. We're just going to bring our knees together and drop our hips over to the right hand side. And then we're going to take our left foot, bring it up and round, and cross over our right knee. If that's a bit too much for that left leg, you can just bring it to the other side of the knee. Once we are there, let's reach up our right hand and then twist round our left knee, bringing the left hand behind us. So a nice little close-up twist here. Maybe taking your gaze over your left shoulder, lengthening through the spine, so really reaching up through the crown of the head. Using your exhales to soften into the twist, finding a little bit more space maybe. And then slowly unraveling, bringing that left leg back down beside your right. And then we'll go the other way, so up through center, shift your hips over to the left, and then just bring that right leg up and over, or just to the side of that left knee. Reaching up with your left hand, finding that length in the side body, twisting around the right knee, and then just bringing that right hand just behind you, just for guidance, for a little bit of support. Taking your gaze over your right shoulder, lengthening through your spine, and using your breath to ease yourself into the twist a little bit more, finding the length, finding the space. And then slowly bringing yourself back round. We'll bring our legs out in front of us. Let's just curl over our thighs just for a couple of breaths. Just finding that nice natural curve in your spine and letting your head hang down if that's okay for the back of your neck. So just stretching out the back of the neck. Okay, uncurling. Let's come up to our seated position, maybe just shiggling yourself a little bit further forward on your mat. We're going to come to lie down, but we're going to come very, very slowly. So reaching our hands out in front of us. I want you to literally lower yourself down just a few inches and then bring yourself back up again. Lower down maybe a little bit further. So finding that curve in the base of your spine, lifting yourself back up, find length in the spine as you come back up. Then lowering down a little bit more and then coming up. So I want you to take as many goes as you can to come all the way down, really working every part of your core. It's such a good exercise. I stole this from Pilates. And there'll be a point where you feel like you're just going to fall back and see if you can hold it and then bring yourself back up. Maybe a little bit further. Whew. And then yes, when you're ready, slowly lowering yourself all the way down to our lying position. When we are there, let's squeeze the knees into the chest. Have a little rock and roll around, massage your spine into the mat. And then we'll come into our twist. So we can hold the right knee into our chest. Let's extend out the left leg to the bottom of the mat. Squeeze that right knee into the chest. And then what we want to do is just shift the hips over to the right just a couple of inches as we bring that right knee over. So trying to keep our spine in a straight line. That's why we kind of shift our hips a little bit. So bring that right knee over, just guiding it over with the left hand. And then taking your gaze over towards your right fingertips, extend that right arm out at shoulder height. Slowing down the breathing, using your exhales here just to find that softness. Maybe closing down the eyes, softening around the face. Just noticing if you're holding any tension around the kind of lower back, the hips. Seeing if you can maybe ease yourself into the twist a little more. And then slowly let's bring ourselves back to center. Just shifting the hips back in line with the spine, squeezing both knees in, and then extending out the right leg. Squeezing the left knee in nice and close to the chest. And this time you just want to shift your hips. So just literally lift your hips just a little bit, shiggle them over to the left just a couple of inches, and then bring that left knee over. Bringing the left arm out beside you at your shoulder height and taking your gaze over towards the fingertips. Just remembering each side might feel very different. So that's completely fine if it does. Just working differently with each side. Taking nice full breaths here, and really as you exhale, you expel all your air. Just see if you can kind of ease into the twist a little bit more. Softening, relaxing, releasing. Then let's bring ourselves back to center, bringing the hips just back in line with your spine. We'll come into our bridges. And if you do actually have a yoga block or a brick or your support, just have it just by your side, just as we come into our bridge. Just something to place under the hips, just so we can have a little bit of support at the end. It's nice. So let's first of all bring our feet hip distance apart, knees hip distance apart, hands down by our sides. Let's peel the hips off, the spine off, all the way up to our shoulders, hips up nice and high, grounding down through the feet. So really feeling the pressure in the kind of ball of your foot and the heel of your foot, and then slowly lowering down, inch by inch, nice and slowly. And again, peeling up the hips, peeling up the spine, all the way up to the shoulders. And then lowering back down, just noticing how your spine is feeling after all the work we've been doing with it today. Taking some more movements in your own time. It might feel a bit sore, it might feel nice and stretched, it might feel energized, it might feel quite hot. There'll be lots of blood rushing to kind of all the muscles around the spine now. So just really noticing how your body's feeling. And not judging it, just noticing. Okay, let's lift our hips, peel up our spine, and then just grab that support, whatever that might be, to place under your hips. Don't worry if you don't have anything. We're just going to lower our hips back down. We just want the support right at the bottom of our spine, so just where our sacrum is, that kind of circular flat bone. So watch there isn't anything on your spine unless you've got a pillow or something nice and soft, which will be fine. So just resting your hips down on your support. We can turn our palms up to face the ceiling, bringing the arms a little bit wider, and then just kind of nestling the shoulder blades together a little bit behind you. Finding length in the back of our neck, so maybe just tucking your chin towards your chest. And fully relaxing here. So really letting your hips kind of sink into your support. Slowing your breathing down, fully releasing. And then everyone just applying a bit of pressure through the soles of your feet, lifting your hips up just a little fraction, just to slide the support away from you, lowering your spine back down, straightening out your legs. Let's come into our Shavasana. So putting on any layers you might want to put on, or if you've got a blanket or a throw, that can be really nice to cover yourself. Actually, it can feel very comforting, even in this warm weather. Settling into our final resting pose, corpse pose, Shavasana. And let's take some deep breaths. Let's take 3 deep breaths before we fully settle down. So let's take a big inhale. Let's fill our body, fill our chest, fill our torso, and then sigh it out. Nice long sighing out exhale. And again, inhale. And exhale, sigh it out. Last one, big inhale, biggest inhale you've taken all day. And long sigh out. Fully relax, fully release, letting it all go. Letting your breath return to normal. Feeling heaviness in the body, melting down into the earth. Relaxing all around our feet,
our ankles, releasing any grip on your calves, your thighs. Just letting your whole kind of lower body, both of your legs just feel really heavy, relaxed. Letting your hips sink into the earth. The whole bottom half of your body just fully letting go. Then moving to the top half of our body, releasing around your abdomen, your lower back, all up and down your spine, your shoulders, your shoulder blades. Let your shoulder blades just melt into the ground. Letting your arms be heavy, your hands, your fingers, fully relaxing. Noticing if there's any tension in your neck, around the back of your neck, up into your scalp, around your forehead. Let's iron out any creases in the forehead, any frowns, any tension in the face, just let it go. Relaxing your jaw, maybe giving your jaw a little shake from side to side. And then just letting it relax. Maybe the mouth is slightly open. Feeling the whole body be really heavy. Feeling fully supported by the earth below and letting it go. Let's bring our attention back to our breathing, just noticing if the mind has wandered. And if it has, that's fine, just bring it back to the breath. Let's take a couple of slightly deeper breaths, starting to breathe a bit of life back in, and maybe starting to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Slowly bringing the legs together, the hands up and overhead, coming into our pencil stretch. And then bringing the knees into the chest, curling up into our little ball, maybe having a little rock and roll around here, taking any movement you need. And then coming to rest on either side, left or right. Just staying curled up in your little ball and keeping the eyes closed if you can. Nice deep breaths here, filling the body with nice fresh energy. And when you are ready, using that energy, pushing yourself back up to your seated position. And when we are there, let's find that length through the spine, energizing up through the crown of the head at the same time that we ground down through the points of contact with the earth. So always two opposing forces going on. Let's inhale, take the shoulders up to the ears, exhaling them back and down, and bringing our hands together in front of our heart center into our prayer position. Let's spread the fingers nice and wide and feel a good force kind of pushing between our hands. Blinking open the eyes.
Thank you, everybody. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining. Have a lovely evening. Have a wonderful weekend.